Appreciate you having me today.
Hey, we're pumped to have you on. So let me tell everyone out there what we're doing. So we got Molly Fichtner with us today. She is the head coach at University of Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks. She just wrapped up her second year as the head coach down there. And I think you led your team to the conference tourney, the semifinal game, right? In the first year.
Yes,
And then
sir.
this year, obviously, is, done. So
Yeah.
kind of crappy.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, tough year. So, tell everybody about how, the season ends, how you staying connected with the team. I know you're doing some really cool stuff. Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, obviously I think I say this all the time. One of my biggest regrets was the day that we got the phone call about, things are going to get postponed, not canceled, but postponed for a while. I allowed the team to go home. And we had a meeting. And I said, hey, why don't you guys take the weekend? And then we'll get back Monday. It'll all be okay. And we'll go back to work. And little did I know that when they left, they were going to be leaving for good. I didn't expect that in my wildest dreams. And so my biggest regret is that I didn't hug all of them because they all left and I haven't seen them since, but a couple of them. And so, it's crazy. I've talked to a lot of coaches that have way more experience than I do, and they've never, ever gone through something like this either. And so as far as staying connected, we decided to do something a little bit interesting where, with our culture, it's always about building the person before the player and investing in them. And, I'm like, wow, what an opportunity to take off the cleats for a few weeks and figure out who we are as people. And the coaching staff decided after Haley McClinney, which I'm sure Haley with Easton, she called me one day and we talked, and she said, she was doing TED Talks with the USA team to stay connected. And I'm like, what is a TED Talk? And she goes, well, we all get on Zoom, and then somebody for that day gets to talk about something they're passionate about outside of softball. And I'm like, Haley, that's brilliant. I said, can I take that idea and run with it in our program? And she said, absolutely. So we called it Gold Coin Calls, which is gold coins are something you're passionate about, something you love. And so obviously everybody shares a gold coin of softball, especially everybody that's on this and watching, and UBK with baseball and softball. That's something you can talk about for hours. But everybody has so many other ones: family, friends, dogs, guitar, music, whatever it is. And what we did is we put everybody on a platform. We gave them certain times during the month of May or April, I believe. And they all had to perform a 15 to 20-minute gold coin presentation.
Very cool.
And it couldn't be about softball. And I'm telling you, it was the coolest thing as a coach. After each one, the coaching staff was grinning ear to ear. They made presentations. We had to do quizzes to figure out what kind of personality. And, I think one of them was Harry Potter. So which house were you in based on your personality? And we learned about Fortnite. They took us through all these different scenarios. One person made a recipe. One of her grandma's recipe taught us how to cook something.
Very cool.
It was very, very, very neat.
What did they cook? What was the recipe?
Okay, it was called cheese straws.
Okay.
Cheese straws. And now I've never heard of them. I actually had her send me the recipe. I haven't made them yet.
You got to make it.
They look delicious.
What is it? Like a deep fried cheese stick or something?
Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a curly cheese stick almost.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'd slam a few of those. Yeah.
Right?
I love it. That's a great idea, like the gold coin calls. And it is a strange time. You're not on the field. You're not able to practice or be with people. But I think this builds that family camaraderie within your team to where people are learning different stuff about each other. And you come back maybe stronger and more motivated because you've been off the field a bit. Very cool stuff, Molly.
Exactly.
So, all right. So I want to swing back a second. And for the people out there who don't know Molly Fichtner, so you were a heck of a player in your day. I'm just going to give everyone, you played at Alabama, had a great career. Tell us a little bit about your playing days. You were a catcher, another head coach who is a catcher. which is a theme that I'm seeing here. So tell everybody a little bit about how you went from being a player to a coach.
Yeah, so I'm from Houston, Texas originally. Love softball. I mean, obsessed with it, obviously. And I got recruited to University of Texas, San Antonio, which is 3.5 hours from my hometown. And I went there for my first 2 years of college. And I tried the different, degrees where I'm like, okay, maybe I want to be a physical therapist. Maybe I want to go into architecture. And, like everybody, you kind of figure it out in college. And finally, my sophomore year, I was like, nope, I want to be outside all day. I want to be on a field. I want to coach. I want to impact young women and inspire them to become something great one day. And so I knew, I was like, all right, I'm going to go into coaching. I know it's my passion. And then I ended up making the transition to the University of Alabama. They had just come off their national championship. And I left UTSA with the intent of, I want to learn from Patrick Murphy. I want to learn from
You had a plan.
Yes. I want to learn from them. And at that time, it was not so much about, playing on the big stage or doing anything like that. It was, I want to learn. I mean, every meeting we had, I'm taking notes on a spiral, like afterwards. And I've got the spiral. I mean, he handed us a handout and I still have it. And so obviously with Murph, him allowing me into the program and, playing was the icing on the cake. I mean, catching Jackie, like seeing Haley in center field. I mean, that was unbelievable. And to be able to have that career was great. And then, that led me to the pro league. And so, actually, it led me to being a volunteer assistant for Murph for a year after I graduated.
Because you got your master's, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that year, it was 2015. So after I graduated in 2014, I got my master's from Alabama with him and was a volunteer assistant. And then I was actually asked to come into the pro league. That's when Dallas Charge had just started. And so I went and played pro. I mean, I was a year out. So, of course, it was like, all right, got to get back into it. And I went and played and I met some incredible women. I mean, it was the neatest networking experience. I mean, just to meet everybody. And that's ultimately how I got my first job in college with Shannon Depking as an assistant. And not that Alabama wasn't, but there's a difference when you go from a volunteer to an actual, assistant position where you can recruit. Yep. Things like that. And so I went all the way up to Dartmouth College, started my career with Shannon Depking. And it's been a blast ever since and led me here.
It's awesome. I mean, it's good stuff. And not only did you just go to Alabama, I mean, you started every game that you were there. And I think, another great fact to point out is you did all this, while being, you're a diabetes 1 person. Yeah. So you've got a disease that you dealt with the whole time. Listen, I watched a video that I found online and it was like an hour-long podcast that you were on. And it was so cool to listen to. But anyways, that's a story for another day because we only have so much time, but incredible career. And you touched on it just now about having a plan and staying motivated and being a competitor. I think that's a story that every athlete needs to have, especially right now when they're at home. You got to have a plan and stay motivated. So give everyone a little pep talk about what to be doing right now.
Well, I mean, I think there's always two ways to look at something like, the coronavirus. I mean, regardless, it's almost like an inflection point in your life where everything changes. I mean, there's no more reality. You feel like this is like a dream or a nightmare. And to some, it's a nightmare. And to others, it's like, wow, there's so many things that I can do to begin better. I mean, our coaching staff has not been more organized with recruiting, even though we can't even go out. I mean, we, certain sheets that we get to dive into, and really we have time for that. We had time to get to know our student athletes so much more with the gold coin calls. So there's so many positives that can come out of it. And when we, whatever we bring attention to grows, in my opinion. So if you associate COVID with all the things you can't do, it's going to be worse and worse and worse in your mind. But if you can associate with what can I do now, it changes your whole perspective on everything.
Sure. I mean, you gotta, get it done. Don't sit at home and be lazy. Get out there and do stuff. All right. So let's talk about, I want to talk about the school and ULM and quickly, what does it mean to be a Warhawk and your facilities that are awesome? quickly tell everybody about that, because they should check online and look at your school and the program.
Yeah, well, we've come since I've been here, we've done a lot to the facility first. You know, we've had a new outfield wall put on. We just put in a new speaker system for the batting cage. The batting cages are new. We put a new speaker system on the field. We have a new team lounge. We repainted the entire facility. We've put a new perimeter fence. We have a new archway. When you walk into the stadium, we have a beautiful right field deck for people to tailgate, have a good time, bring their grills out. And that's all not even in 2 years, BK. I mean, they're really investing in softball here, which is exciting.
That is.
I think when it comes to being a Warhawk softball player, they'll all tell you is it's just one word that we live by, and it's SHIP, SHIP. You know, you can't win a championship without the SHIP, and what it stands for is selfless, hardworking, impactful, and positive. And those 4 words is who you are as a person, but it's going to make you a better softball player too.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. I feel like we should just ride that ship right out of here. I mean,
oh yes.
That's a great end segue right there. Molly, you're doing a heck of a job at that school. You got some great young energy in there. Sounds like the school, the athletics department's rallying around you. Wish you nothing but the best, and we love having you guys on Team Easton, swinging those ghost bats out there.
Oh yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I mean, what you're doing right now for the softball and baseball community is unbelievable, and so we can't thank you guys enough.
We're doing what we can. Molly, thanks for joining us. Stay ready, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you on the field soon.
All right, thanks, BK. Bye.
Okay, bye.